return late November, early December. With that, we put together the appropriation side of the budget. I meet with each of the department heads, and we try to pare down and go over any new programs, any programs that are obsolete that we eliminate, so on and so forth. Tonight's hearing will be, for the schedule, will be 2 nights, tonight and tomorrow night. As I indicated, this is for appropriations only. Later on, Mr. Holman will do the revenue side of the budget, probably sometime in March. We'll strike a tax rate, and then we'll come back to the governing body so you can discuss where we want to be tax-wise and where we are with the financials. For this evening, we're going to start with the, well, let me first start by saying we're going to go through tonight the Township Council budget, Township Manager, Legal Services, Prosecutor, Public Defender, Township Clerk, Elections Budget, Finance Department, Tax Collector, Tax Assessor, Public Library, Health Department, Public Buildings and Grounds, Planning Board, Zoning Board, Building Inspection, Plumbing, Electrical Inspection, and Police Department. And that's how we'll conclude for tonight. Just so we note, we're going to have a staff meeting immediately following this at 7 o'clock. At 7 o'clock, we'll cut off if we don't conclude, which I think we should conclude by then. And we'll pick up with that because that isn't advertised at 7 o'clock meeting. With that, we're going to start with the Township Council's budget. We're going to start with the 250 account, conference and dues. You'll see that account stayed the same as last year. There was a $650 appropriation last year, and that's going to remain the same for this year. The 290 account, professional fees and services, that is for our internet services, $9,800 to operate the internet system. You'll see the website upgrade, which we did last year, was eliminated, and the Fierro Memorial was eliminated also. So there's a $5,000 reduction. So that budget went from $14,900 to $9,000, not $14,800 to $9,800. 330 books and publications, $132. Self-explanatory league magazines that you guys get, and league bulletin updates. Office supplies, $950, same as last year. That goes for the nameplates, miscellaneous supplies, and when we do send bereavement flowers out, that comes out of this budget. All total, this budget's going down from $16,532 to $11,532. Who says municipal government cannot reduce things? If anybody just did it. It's magic. Moving right along, Township Manager's budget. Start with the 220 account, travel expenses, $750. That's 57 cents a mile that I get reimbursed. To be honest with you, that probably only covers a half a year of my mileage. I'm not asking for an increase, not looking for it. That's fine just the way it is. Conference and dues, 250 account is $310. Most of it is the New Jersey Municipal Managers Association dues and the $55 registration fee for the league municipalities. $299, not otherwise classified. This was a catch-all employee training program. Any employee who wants to attend any training seminars, they submit a request in writing with an outline of what it is. As long as it's pertaining to their job, we take it out of this line item. Books and publications, you see all the statutes in the council conference room. Those are all the updates and the special pocket parts for that. Miscellaneous supplies, I think I missed this $200 here. I have it in last year's. I'm going to have to increase that by 200 there. Okay. With that, Brother P-Touch, that's for the replacement ribbons in the Brother P-Touch labeling system. The little thing. All total, this budget's going from $193,450 to $190. I got to add the $250. So it was $193,450. Previously it was $193,250. We got to add the other two, so that's going to go up to $193,450. It's going to be exactly the same. Any questions so far? If not, we're going to move on to the Township Clerk. Kathy Stutz is here. Kathy, you want to go up here?
Good evening, Ms. Stutz.
Good evening.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Just before we start, I know I'm going to make her blush a little bit, but this lady is worth her weight in gold. She does everything for this municipality. She just cares so much. She's what I call the welcome mat. Anybody that comes to town hall, this is the first person you go to the clerk's office. So she's like Mikey. When anything goes wrong, give it to Mikey. But I have to say, she does a wonderful job, and I don't know what we would do without her.
And Mr. Tucci, I would agree. You know, we see it on the other end where you keep us in order. Right.
And you need somebody to do that, whether it's at home or here.
You know, because we all have different things going on and we forget certain things, but we always know that you will never forget what we need to do. And you work so hard, you put in so much effort to the town council, to the township, and to each and every one of us. And I can tell you from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for everything that you do.
Don't have a training.
Yeah, right.
With that, we're going to go on to the 210 account, advertising and promotional activities. These are the ordinance notices. Every time we do an ordinance change or employment ads when there's an opening, we take it out of this account. You'll see it's bumped up a little bit from $5,500 to $7,000. We're going up $2,000 because when we do ordinance changes, which we've been doing a lot with the COA and all that, you're going to need that to publish. 230 account bulk mailing, $400. That's going to remain the same as last year. Printing and binding, these are the ABC licenses, township letterhead, and codification services. Went up slightly from $5,236 to $5,361. You'll see the township letterhead, that's where the little increase, incremental $125. Conference and dues, it's very important that in your profession you stay plugged into what's going on. You see Kathy's involved with the New Jersey Clerks Association, New Jersey League of Municipalities, Essex County Clerks, because when you collaborate with your peers, you learn more. Sometimes you bring them good ideas, sometimes they bring them back. That's why it's very important that we have this kind of activity. And you'll see it again in the finance department and the assessor, so on and so forth. They all belong to professional organizations where amongst your peers, you make your profession better. With that, this budget is going to go up slightly from $3,364 to $3,433. The 261 account, Kathy handles all the finances for the copy machine, $2,000. She pays it out of this account. Fees, transcripts, whenever we need it. You notice we didn't have any transcripts, but when we do need a transcript, the governing body needs it for some lawsuit or whatever, something that goes on, comes out of this account, $500. Books and publications, this is for Leak magazines, the publication of administrative law and the West group titles, $880 last year, it went up slightly to $905. Office supplies, $375 this year versus $350 last year, $25 increase. All total, this budget's going up slightly from $150,730 to $152,474. Does anybody have any questions of the clerk at this point? Again, a lot of these increases are de minimis. As the council's aware, with elections, every other year you'll see the budget go up, and every 2 years we have a municipal election that goes down. This year we're on the down cycle. You'll see we only have a couple of line items. The primary sample ballots, $6,775, and then on the other election expenses are for paying the county workers, so on and so forth, $630. So this budget's going from $30,610 to $7,405. Next year, you'll see that go back up because we'll have a municipal election next year. Anybody have anything else for Kathy while she's here? I'm not going to make you blush anymore.
Thank you.
If not, thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Yep.
Kat.
Thank you.
With that, we're going to move on to the finance department. Mr. Homer's here. I like when Mr. Homer comes because he
Good
likes,
evening.
he
Yeah,
likes to talk and I get to say.
I don't need Mr. Tucci explaining this. You know, it's my budget. I can talk about it, right?
He used to be in vaudeville.
This is what it's all about. Where would you like to start,
We're going to
Mr.
start
Tucci? You tell
with
me.
the 0115 account, finance. That's on page 8.
Oh, okay,
Oh.
I see it.
Page 8.
Okay, Finance Department, as Mr. Tucci just said, you know, the mileage still at 57 cents, so looking for a whopping $75 as I do each year for the mileage. For printing and binding, the only thing that I added this past year that we have been buying and we bought last year was obviously the 1099 form. So I threw that in. That's been costing us about $150. Obviously, anybody that's an independent contractor with the township, we've got to send them a 1099. Even when people buy liens at our tax sale, if they earn over $600 worth of interest, I got to send them a 1099 INT.
And they get mad at them.
So I got to keep an eye on, we got everybody to pay their fair share of taxes, So, that's to get out the 1099s. So I got $150 more for that. As Mr. Tucci was just mentioning, these are all the associations that I belong to and the dues. I think the only one that I'm looking for more that was a bit more was the GFOA 4 conference. $500 to $650 for that.
Could you just explain what GFOA is?
Government Finance Officers Association. I was president of the Government Finance Officers Association in 2010 and 11. So it's prestigious to be president of the state organization for 2 years. So I was president for 2 years. Usually even at the fall conference, I usually do an early bird seminar, either on any topic, any accounting topic, usually from like 8 to like 9 o'clock in the morning. So I do present a seminar for an hour on one of the mornings. Usually it's Thursday morning. And it's just a lot of things dealing with finance. Everything changes. Probably we're into our third year now with the financial statements being submitted through the state FAST portal. Used to be on paper and send them down to Trenton. Well, they don't want the paper no more. Do everything through the FAST portal. In fact, you're going to see this year, I did submit, the budget document is going to be changing. It used to be on paper, you're familiar with the budget document. Now they want that through the state FAST portal at this point. So I set up all the budget accounts, as we've seen, that was set up there, that we adopted in 2019. I set it up, and I submitted it to the state. So right now, I kind of highlighted some problems that I had, circled in red, scanned it, sent it back to the state, wait for them for a response. But you're going to see the budget document's going to be changing this year. I think they want to go more electronic than with paper. Plus, really, with the state, once they get the financial statements, they're looking to kind of cross-check. So many numbers in the financial statements, like fund balance, the debt service, they want to cross-check that to the budget document. And right now, the way the state's been doing it, they got somebody have the financials right here, the budget document next to them, and they're kind of cross-referencing the numbers. So if they're trying to get all this stuff done electronically, and then just spit out an exception report to see where any the errors or irregularities might be. So that's really where the state's getting at this point. So you're going to see the budget document change. Even the FAST financials have changed, hopefully all for the better. But we'll see, this will be the first year at this point.
This is the first year that they're going all electronic?
Well, we're in the third year with the financial statements.
They've been phasing.
Yeah.
The financial statements were in the third year at this point. Budget document, they're doing it for the first year this year. They were thinking of doing the budget document last year, but to be honest, they were having so much trouble with the FAST financial statements and getting the bugs out to move it to the budget document also. You're really
I
driving.
think that's what they're experiencing now, too. There's still a lot of bugs. That's why Bill said he's highlighting and sending, because he's submitting stuff in the document and it's spitting back, because they're not prepared for what.
Because I set up all the utilities, because we got water, sewer, swimming pool, solid waste collection district. I set up the FAST budget, submitted it, printed it, but none of the account descriptions appeared. Salaries and wages, other expenses, capital outlay, capital improvement fund, debt service. They weren't there. Like, where are they? The total should have pennies. The total didn't have pennies. Where's the pennies? So these were like all things that when I set up the FAST budget, if you will, and submitted to the state, these were all things that I'm saying, it's not right, it's not working.
Not to cut Bill off, but I just want to blow his horn a little bit, too. Bill is a certified CFO, certified finance officer. Bill teaches the classes to other finance officers in the state of New Jersey. Wait, Bill is also the author of the state finance exam that you take to get your license. So what you're sitting to one of the experts in certified finance officer field here. He's been around a long time. What, 35 years with the family now?
It's gonna be 37 in April.
37.
Wow.
I know. Division of Pension website, 37 years, what am I doing?
Not that he's counting.
Diminishing returns.
It's past that. It's past diminishing returns. But, it keeps me active. I teach the financial statement class at Rutgers on Tuesday nights. Tuesday nights I'm down in New Brunswick. And even to be honest, I've been asking the state to give me a portal because I'm teaching the financials the way we've been doing it for the last 35 years. I'm trying to teach the students, okay, once you get it done, how do you get it into the portal? And where do you got to go? And I'm trying to get like a dummy portal, if you will, to do it. Right now, it's not available. So these are things we're looking for.
It's always kinks to work out.
Yeah, you just got to take, one day at a time and just deal with
All
it.
right, let's move on because we got a time constraint
Oh,
tonight, right?
really? Are we on
We do
time?
have- I got it 7 o'clock, we have a staff meeting, so we have to get.
Oh, we're way ahead of schedule, Tom. Don't worry about that. So at this point, for the finance department, the GFOA 4 conference, we're up $150 on that. The copier maintenance, $130 more on that to $38.30. Okay. Professional services, payroll, we're leaving that no increase. The computer support, no increase. I think I was looking for about $118 more on copier supplies, paper and whatnot.
350 account.
The 350 account. So overall, finance budget is up $578. All right.
That's not including salaries.
Yeah, just the OE. Any questions?
No question.
Now we'll move on to the auditor, the 154 account, page 10.
Okay, auditors, municipal auditors, I think their audit now is up to,
29,972.
sorry, Tom, where is it? Second page. Yeah, 29,972. We use Nitsuvachi and Company. They're very timely. They make it a point to get the audit done by, the end of June. Usually their staff is in here in early April to do the field work. And I make it easy for them, to be honest with you, because the general ledger is improved, ties into the financial statements. Boom, just come in and.
Yeah. How long have you been using Nitsuvachi?
I think, if I had to look back, I wonder if it's about 10 years. It could be 10, maybe a little bit less than that, to be honest with you. But they're very timely. The nice thing, not that you get a comfort level, they know the way I keep my records. So it makes their time in and out that much more quicker. As opposed to looking for another firm, now you got to store it all over. How do you keep your records? How do you keep your general ledger?
We had a problem with our previous firm, only, not that the audit was bad, just that it wasn't timely. We were getting it done in August and September, whereas now it's getting done in April.
These guys are in April. You get the audit in June at this point. We have an exit audit conference in May. We're done with it. And they do a great job. And even here, all right, we're under 30,000. There's a lot of activity here in Cedar Grove compared to other municipalities. Look, everybody's got current fund. Everybody's got a state and federal grant fund. We got 3 utilities. They got to audit the water utility, sewer utility, swimming pool utility. Plus, we have a solid waste collection district. There's for small municipality, there's a lot of activity that, compared to other communities that, and really to get them in and out under 30,000, I check, it's a good price.
And Mr. Tucci, that's publicly bid, right?
How
does that work?
RFQs,
I don't remember.
RFQs.
So they
They
bid.
submit it to Bill, Bill does an analysis, and he offers a recommendation, the governing body
Got it.
awards it every
Yep.
year.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Okay.
You tell me,
We're
Mr.
gonna move on to
Tucci.
the tax collector, which
Tax-
is page 13.
Tax collector at this point. Obviously, we've got to have our tax bills at this point. No increase. I think the only increase I've got is computer maintenance at $36. We're really holding the line on everything in the tax office. Added and omitted assessment bills, post-annual tax statement. The homestead rebate, we keep, the state kind of drives us crazy with the homestead rebate. I think last year we mailed it out twice. There was an adjustment. The people that qualified for the homestead rebate, we sent them a revised bill in May. The homestead rebate was on their May bill. Then the state decides to give them another homestead rebate because I think they cut it in half in May. They gave them another half in November. So we had to send out homestead revised bills again. It's just a lot of work, generating these bills, getting them out. But I think we can hold the line at this point. $36 increase for the tax office, I think is a fair amount.
Okay, now we're gonna go to.
You want to go to
Water admin?
9:30?
Oh, all right, we're going 9:30 account?
Am I messing you up, Tom?
Oh, all right,
You sure?
not a problem. 9:30 account.
This is the estimated tax bills?
Yes. Just give me 1 second to get there.
I don't have page numbers.
LoSAP.
If I could just talk about it, Tom.
Let me get everybody to the same page, so we're all looking at the same thing. We're on page 133. Good?
Got it?
Go ahead.
133, got it there, everybody's got it? One of the things we've always done is, we've always sent out estimated tax bills for the third quarter. I'm sure you probably all have gotten the estimated bills. Pretty much, again, holding the line, $4,600. Usually what I've been doing is, to send out an estimated tax bill, I need the governing body approval. So usually, first meeting in June, like clockwork, I prepare a resolution, I estimate the tax rate, you adopt the resolution authorizing me to issue the tax bills. I estimate the rate, tell our computer company, this is the rate I'm going with, they generate the estimated bills. So they're out in the street by mid-June. That's due August 1st. You know, to be honest, we don't wait then for the county to give us a certified tax rate, because many times that's sometime late in July.
We end up borrowing money.
It's getting too late
Right.
to August 1st, so people are happy, you get the bills out early, they can go on vacation, they got the bill, they're not hunting and pecking for their bill, and then in September, we do mail out the reconciling bill. Because once I know the certified tax rate, assessment times the certified rate, subtract the first 3 quarters, that's their fourth quarter bill.
And that's where sometimes people get confused, because they multiply that third quarter bill, and they say, wow, my taxes went up so much, that's an adjusted bill in the next quarter.
So we've been, you know, even at Rutgers, I try to get people to, you gotta do the estimated bills. You know, I'm a big proponent. If you can get a bill out there, get the bill out there. But I guess some communities, you know, if you got 14,000 line items, it's a lot of work. You know, if you got 14,000 line items versus, 4,700 line items, it's manageable here.
Sure.
So, you know, again, asking the governing body, we fund the estimated tax bills, get those out in June, okay, at this point?
Yep. Now we're gonna move on to, want to do LoSAP?
Whatever you'd like to do.
Okay, we'll do LoSAP, which is on page 139.
LoSAP, right now, we're holding the line at $80,000. Usually, this is a program that we have for the fire department and the rescue squad. In probably early part of, probably in March, usually I'll get a list from the fire department and the rescue squad of all of their members that qualified for the LoSAP payment. I think they usually got to get like 100 points.
It is a program where they have to
You
make
know,
X amount of points to be
How many
qualified.
drills they went to, meetings, the whole 9 yards, and if they get the 100 points, so they give me the certified list. Then we'll pass a resolution to adopt this list. Kathy then sends it back to the rescue squad and the fire department, where it has to sit for 30 days in case somebody has to appeal something. Maybe if they're left off the list or whatever, they have the opportunity to appeal. Once we get past that 30 days, then what we do is generate a voucher, and the check actually goes to VALIC. They're the company that funds each one of the members' LoSAP account. And I send them the check, I give them the list, and each account is funded at that point. So, you know, usually, so, you know, I'm looking for 80,000, and whatever we, I think you've seen, I think what was about 48,000 for the fire, 18,000 for rescue. So, you know, depending on the membership who qualifies, I think we got more than enough at
It could
this
be up or
point
down,
to
depending on
cover it.
who
So I
qualifies.
think we're in good shape with that. Water?
Water admin, page 94.
Okay, for the water utility, for meter postage, $31.90, and meter reading cards, I guess, when we're not able to get a reading, we'll leave a card there so they can put the reading on the card, send it back to us. So that's gonna stay the same at
We shouldn't have many meters left though, because most of them are remote readings.
most are remotes at this point. So I'm keeping the postage at $38.60 at this point. The billings, printing and binding, same amount for the water bills, vouchers, delinquent notices, some of the current fund checks that we buy, we do charge. Last year, we had plenty of stock, so I had nothing charged to the water utility. But I'd like to keep that $250 appropriation there, leave that at $16.10. Continuing ed seminars, I didn't charge anything to the water utility. I think I charged them all to either tax or finance last year, so I didn't tap into the water utility at all. Computer maintenance up $252 at this point. So we're at $69.49 for the computer maintenance and copier maintenance, leaving the computer software and payroll services the same. Nothing new on offices and supplies. Office supplies, leaving that at $1,600. And the municipal auditor going up $247. The increase in the municipal auditor fee has been allocated to the tax office, water, and sewer department. Okay, so overall, water and sewer is going up $499, from $25,697 to $26,196.
Comments or questions regarding water admin? Moving on to page 106, sewer administration.
Sewer administration. Okay, sewer utility, looking for maybe $400 more on what we pay Verona for the sewer charges. That's up by Franklin Street. We get a bill from the Township of Verona. They're up about $400, so we're looking for an increase there. Postage the same at $34.90. Printing and binding, leaving that the same at $1,610. Continuing ed seminars, again, I had that $170 also in the sewer. Any of the seminars that Nancy and I had gone to, I just charged the taxes and finance department, so I just kind of left that at $170. We didn't have any charges there in 2019. Computer maintenance up $205 compared to last year. Copier maintenance, same amount, $400, so up about $205 on computer maintenance. Payroll and computer software, leaving that the same, $4,822. And office supplies, same amount, $1,600. And again, the municipal order up $247, allocated their increase to the tax, water, and finance departments. So overall, we're up $852 at this point.
Let's just go back to where the line item 230 water and sewer Verona and Little Falls. Just wanted to explain what that is. We have a few connections the south end of town that go to the Verona sewage treatment, so we pay for connection fee. On the north end, we have a large portion of the north end of town, like Montclair Avenue, Pine, all that goes to Little Falls. So we pay a service fee for each of those houses, interconnection there. And what happens is we get a pro rata number, and then at the end of the year, Bill gets a permanent number and he adjusts. But that's what those two numbers are. Just want to clarify exactly so you understand what those numbers are.
Okay.
The 39979, the municipal auditor,
Yes.
that's Nizbachi again?
Yes.
Yes.
So that's just,
That's not in addition to, that's a
That's-
broken out piece.
that's
The
what I was-
29,000 is the total number, and then if you look back at the auditor page, you'll see it broken out. So really what gets charged to general account, after water, sewer, swimming pool, all those things, their pieces get broken out, so the utilities get charged their pro rata share.
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
But it's
like-
not in addition to the 29,000.
Yeah, $12,225 gets charged to the current fund budget. So the general taxpayers are paying $12,225.
Utilities are paying.
And then the utilities, we have some going to get to water utility, some going to sewer utility at this point. Do you want to talk,
You want to do the utility debt service?
yeah, we can.
Okay. Unless you want to go somewhere else.
Nah, let's go for it.
Okay.
You tell me
All
water,
right, page
sewer.
119. This is just what the debt service are in the utilities, so you have an idea of where we are and what we're paying.
Is that notes?
Yes.
Right now, in our sewer utility, at the end of last year, we had $959,000 in bond anticipation notes. Okay, these are notes that are coming due in June. And what I'm recommending that we appropriate, we pay down $70,000 right now on these notes. Okay, so we're looking for a principal pay down of $70,000, and the interest on these notes that we need to appropriate would be $23,950. So, we have, bond anticipation notes are temporary financing. So when you adopt an ordinance for, let's say, a water project, sewer project, we don't immediately go out and issue a serial bond for it. We issue a bond anticipation note. And you can be in notes for up to 10 years. So we borrow the money, so I've got money on hand so we can pay the contractor who's ever doing that work. And then what we do is each year we pay down a piece of those notes. So right now for the sewer utility, we had $958,000 worth outstanding in bond anticipation notes at year end. And the notes, what I have listed in the way I set it up is, I give you the actual bond ordinance number that we borrowed money for to finance that project. So like if you see the first ordinance 14-774 for the rehab of sewer system, we have outstanding $154,000 for that ordinance. We're going to pay down 30, so then when I roll the notes over in July, we'll roll those notes over for $124,000. So these are notes, these are temporary financing, and we're looking to pay down $70,000 on these
And
notes.
because of the low interest rates right now, it works to our benefit. If the interest rates were to go up, bond anticipation notes may not be the way to go. Maybe you go to serial bond at that point. But because it's low, we're able to roll it and benefit from the low interest rate year to year.
So it's not, so I actually wrote down two questions on this. So the bond anticipation notes for temporary funding,
And they get
When does
recast every year.
and they get what?
Recast every year.
Okay. Does it ever make sense to convert them? I mean, it's a low interest rate, and you call them serial notes? Is that what
Bond
you call them?
anticipation notes,
Yeah, and then you.
Serial notes are the
The
long-term.
long-term.
serial bonds.
Does it ever make sense to convert those to a serial bond?
Historically,
Roughly the same?
the notes are always going to be less than the bonds, because when you issue bonds, people are going to be, let's say you're going to have a 20-year bond, the interest rates are going to be higher because the people that are buying these bonds that are going to, those maturing 20 years out, are going to want to get rewarded with a higher interest rate. The notes, because they're only 1 year in duration, the rates are going to be substantially lower. I think we were well under 2% last year when we issued these notes.
So is it almost like an adjustable rate every year?
Every year, like,
Potentially a new rate?
see, these notes come due July 16th, right?
Okay.
So probably a week to 10 days before, I'm going to have another note sale. I'll roll these notes over for $888,000, because we'll pay down $70,000 through the budget. I'll roll over $888. So when I get those proceeds in, probably like a few days before, I get $888,000 in. I get a new rate on those notes that were rolled over, and at $888 plus the $70,000 in the budget will be used to pay off the maturing bond anticipation notes that I issued the previous year. So it's almost like a show game, so to speak, where, okay, these notes are coming due July 16th. I've got to plan another note sale before this date, because I need the new note proceeds to come in
Pay off the old.
to pay off these notes that are coming due on the 16th. When I sell the new notes this year, they're going to mature a year from now. So next year, in 2021, I'm going to have another note sale, pay down some of the notes through the budget, and some of the proceeds I get in would be to pay off some of the notes that I issued the previous year. So it's constantly just kind of moving forward. Historically, if you can stay in bond anticipation notes, they're going to be lower than serial bonds.
And we've been lucky because the rates have been low and we've been benefiting from
What
it.
are the rates tied to? Is it tied to the prime? Is it tied to?
It's market conditions, I'll call bond counsel, or I'll look online, see what people really recently issued. It's probably demand for money in the marketplace. There's a bunch of factors, not just really tied into one thing.
Our rating?
Our bond rating, I was able to, 2 years ago, get our bond rating increased, because we were AA minus with Standard & Poor's. Submitted all this documentation to Standard & Poor's, got it increased to AA. So that's fantastic for us, to be a AA rating, because you go to the marketplace, that's one of the two questions they want. When you're issuing these notes, who's legal on this, meaning who's your bond counsel, which is Gibbons, and what's your bond rating, AA? I'd love to get a AAA rating, to be honest with you. But it's very difficult here. And I'll tell you the reason why, not to pick on the swimming pool, but the swimming pool, if you look at our budget, money's used to support the swimming pool, you know? And when they look at the rating agencies, look at it, you know, they want all these utilities to be self-sufficient. It's very difficult. It was a chore, to be honest with you, to get our rating from AA minus to AA. And if you look online, you Google bond ratings, AA is an excellent bond rating. You know,
All
it's-
right, let's move on.
Yeah,
I got a lot of people here.
Quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What about the administrative costs between the serial bonds versus the?
Historically, look, the administrative costs, I think, because we issued, I think this year, when we paid Gibbons, maybe the bill was about $9,000. The only reason why it was that high was we issued $11 million in notes to purchase the Newark property. Usually, their bill's about $5,000. What I've seen, like when we issued bonds back in 2013, okay? When we issued bonds in 2013, $25,000 for an official statement. $25,000, you know, for the bond rating, it was $25,000 to pay Gibbons, which was legal counsel. So we had $25,000 for bond rating, $25,000 for the official statement, $25,000 to pay Gibbons for their legal opinion. We had to put it in the bond buyer, which was what, maybe $7,000 to advertise it in the bond buyer. We needed Grand Street, some software from Grand Street, because when people bid on with serial bonds, they just kind of go right into your portal, and you can see all the bids coming in. You'll have a cutoff at 11 o'clock. You'll get 4 bids at 15 seconds prior to 11 o'clock. Everybody waits the last minute, you know. So we had to get software. Grand Street software was about $1,500, and I'm probably missing something. And we paid $15,000 for the bond rating, because prior to 2015 we had no bond rating. You didn't need a bond rating to issue notes, but when you issued bonds, we needed the bond rating. 15 grand for that. To be honest, it's more expensive to actually issue serial bonds than it is for bond anticipation. Issuing notes is easy.
A lot of money.
It's easy, you know. So I've got it down to a science. How we doing, Tom?
Let's move on to page 104. That's how
What's page 104, Tom?
now you know how Jimmy D felt when he was giving his speech in the light display. Time is up.
Is that it? This is like the lights flashing here? What are we looking at?
We're looking at the bonding for water utility.
Bond anticipation notes?
Just real quickly.
Yeah. They gotta find the page. I'll look at your screen, because
All right.
yeah, I think right now, debt service, right now we're at $1,991,000 outstanding in notes at the end of the year, looking to pay down $140,000. At this point, the interest on those notes would be $49,775 at this point.
But that's where we are as far as the utilities are concerned. Any questions?
Did you want to talk about this, or are you gonna do that?
No, that's what we'll do tomorrow in capital. I'll
Okay,
handle that.
all right. You're on top of that.
All right.
All right, any other questions?
No, thank you very much. Thank you for all the detailed explanations. We appreciate it.
Anything you're missing, just let me know, or speak to Mr. Tucci, I'll get it for you, you know? All right?
Thank you, Bill.
All right, you guys have a good night, all right?
Too.
Yep.
The fees. Now we're gonna turn to the tax assessor's budget. We have Mr. Hamilton here,
Good evening, everybody.
who, if there is one job in town hall that's a thankless job, it's probably Rich Hamilton's job. He's not the most popular guy in town.
I don't understand
He
why.
doesn't get it. But we're gonna start with the,
What page?
page 11, please. We'll start with the 220 account travel, $815. That's gonna remain the same. The 240 printing and binding, again, Rich held that the same, $2,350. 250 account, conference and dues, again, professional organizations, $850. 290 specialized services, which are the appraisals and the edit assessments, that's going up $2,000 from 19 to 21,000, and that's only because we have the Cavnanian project that we need the additional dollars there. 330 account books and publications, $65. Office equipment, $75. All total, this budget's going from $105,760 to $107,760. Rich, you want to give the governing body a little bit of a feel of what's going on at the Hovnanian project?
Sure. Up to this point, I've inspected about 100 new housing units at K. Hovnanian Hilltop. Based on the first, we're just completing January, we're about 22 closings in January. We just got the calendar for February, approximately 26 closings in February. So if we continue at that pace, we're looking at about 250 new housing units coming on board this year. And I'm doing every inspection. There's probably been about 30 variations of all the different types, whether it's affordable, the stacked townhomes, and the traditional townhomes. They all come with different options and different basements and walkouts. So the first 100 have sort of been the learning curve of seeing exactly each variation to each of the 3 different styles. So I'm anticipating about 250 inspections this year. Talked to the sales office on Friday. Sales are brisk. So it appears that 250 out of the total of 460 units will be inspected this year.
Rich, when you say inspected, does that mean the CLO is issued?
That's what I was gonna ask.
Exactly, right. I'm typically trying to get in to inspect a unit a day or 2 before the closing, so that we're not, it's just much more efficient that way than to send letters to 250 buyers and try to set up the inspections with them. So if I can get into a building that has 10 stacked townhomes, I can do those over the course of a week. And again, try to see it just before the closing so everything's there. You can see the variations, you can see the options that the buyers have purchased.
So when you say, so your trigger to do an inspection is upon the sale of a unit, not upon the completion of the unit?
They are usually within a day or 2 of each other.
Okay, so they've been going that.
So at the beginning of each month, K. Hovnanian is sending us an email saying, these are the units that we're going to close on this month, and here are the various closing dates.
Our coordination
So they
is
just happen to
very,
be- they
it's,
just
no,
happen to
our
be
coordination, the way it's set up, is so close that all this is happening all at one time. There's no, before, normally there would be a lag time, you know, they wouldn't get back to us, so we wouldn't get there right away. But right now, because of how brisk it is there, he's coordinating with K. Hovnanian, they letting him know, and he's getting in there right away. And just so you know, on the extra inspections, as far as building and site inspection, K. Hovnanian set up an escrow account. They're paying for all the
Right,
additional
remember that.
time of our employees.
So I guess my question, so stated another way, if the unit is finished but doesn't have a buyer, do you go in and inspect that?
Doesn't happen. They won't finish a unit until they have a buyer.
Got it.
Yeah. In fact, my first stop every time to the Hilltop is to the construction trailer. Because they'll say, okay, we told you to go to Building 8, there's a change. Building 6 is going to get COs prior. So it's, okay, drop Building 8, pick up Building 6. So it's where constant communication with the people at K. Hovnanian. And again, we get that email at the beginning of the month, so we have a general idea, but there are changes, when along the way.
And
So trying to
the
stay.
latest information we have as far as school children, I think we had, out of 100, I think we generated 3. I think,
Yes.
5.
it is 5, it's up to
But
5?
one of them was just a transfer, so it might be 4.
Yeah, so the number is,
That's right.
the first 100 is relatively
That's low.
low at this point. We're trying to track that also.
Sure.
And the
And
other-
and who tracks that information on the school children? Is that the Board of Ed?
Board of Ed.
Or we?
Administration.
Okay.
The other thing is, I'm finding out from,
South End.
the trailer, when I'm seeing what the difference is between the school and what they're telling me. But the Hovnanian's tracking it also.
And just outside of the Hilltop development, we also saw an increase in ratables of 8.8 million in the other parts of Cedar Grove, which generated $483,000 in added assessment revenue, and that's
Can
separate.
you say that again, because I totally missed what you just said?
Sure, the inspections outside of K. Hovnanian Hilltop,
Because Hovnanian is not taxes, it's payment in lieu.
and so the inspections other than K. Hovnanian produced an increase in ratables of 8.8 million and revenue of $183,000.
So that's like home additions.
Right.
New construction outside of- right.
Outside of K-Hop.
Right, we have a lot of flipper activity, additions, alterations, and we do have new homes in various parts of town.
Okay, Richard, thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Appreciate it.
Now we're going to move on to the library on page 59. And we have our library director here.
Good evening,
Hello.
how are you?
Good, good.
And as everyone knows,
Excuse me,
especially
yeah.
Kerry, who's the liaison to the library is basically where everybody goes to do everything. In particular, our young folks and our senior population. I mean, we have a big dichotomy, that middle group, maybe not as much.
Yeah.
But the young folks and the older citizens of the township utilize the library. I could tell when I come in the morning. Parking lot's loaded, say Catherine's got a nice hot program going on today. But with that, we're gonna start at the 23047 account, the telephone account, $2,800. That's gonna remain the same. The 23138 account, $19,800. That's for heat, power, and light. 232 account, remain the same, that's $600. The postage cash, reduced that a little bit from $600 down to $400. Printing and binding for stationery and forms, $1,000, is the same as last year. Conference and dues, again, we can't stress how important it is to be involved with your professional organizations in your field. $1,850, it's down a little bit from $2,300. Catherine pared that down. Maintenance and other equipment, basically all the repairs that go into service contracts, $6,500. Cleaning and supplies, $2,400. That's down, but you're going to see that changed only because we had one of the in-house people doing the service contract here, and now Catherine's going to go outside. If you look back at the 101 account, part-timers, up on the top of the page, $19,500. She's going to be advertising for a cleaning service or a cleaning individual to handle that. So really, it's a flipping of dollars from one account to the other. 290 account, professional services. These are the PALS Plus annual fees and computer repair and replacement. That's going to reduce from $40,500 to $36,500. You'll notice that Catherine's reducing a lot of these line items that you're going to see in the end where she's putting all the dollars. I know, you know where I'm going with this, Kerry. Children's books and media was $100,000 last year, reduced to $89,915. Office supplies were reduced from $27,000 to $25,000. Janitorial, light bulbs and cleaning supplies, $1,000 is the same. Not otherwise classified, this is the disability, group medical, dental, all those good things for the employees. You see it reduced slightly from 211,271 to 210,905. You might ask yourself, why? How could that reduce? Well, there's been a slight reduction in healthcare costs this year, and the other thing is a lot of times things change with the reclassification of employees. We have a single woman or a single man, and then they get married, they have a family now, but they go from a single policy to a husband and wife policy, and the premium changes. So that's where a lot of the dichotomy comes in the cost of things. And this is where Catherine's spending her money this year, on furniture. With the new addition or the new renovations that are proposed for the library, furniture purchases were going from $41,348 last year to $57,583. And all total, the library budget's going from $863,912 to $866,946. Again, keeping everything in line, keeping it close. Catherine does a wonderful job. The programs here are utilized by all. I want to thank the Library Board of Trustees. Your support for this community is unwavering, and we appreciate everything that you do for us day in and day out. The people of this community appreciate it also, so thank you. Anybody have any questions of Catherine at this point?
No, I just want to echo that and say thank you for everything that you do. I know, I can tell you, I have 4 young children of my own, and we talk to their friends, and not only do my children go there, but their friends go there, and you hear parents talking about some great things that you're doing.
Oh, good,
So-
thank you.
So thank you for doing what you do.
Again, I'm a bit precious, I'm a big fan of Catherine's and all my department heads. So that's why you're going to hear me say a lot of good things about them, because if I don't, who's gonna? Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you.
Thanks, Catherine.
Thank you.
See that, Sue, we caught up. Now we're gonna have Health Department, Sue Portaway from the Montclair Health Department, who
Hi,
is
how's
gonna handle
everybody doing?
the Health
Hi.
Department budgets. We're gonna see what page we gotta go to here. Let's see. Here we go. We're going to page 45. We're going to start with the 220 account on page 45, mileage $100, the same appropriation as last year. The 240 account, printing and binding, was $1,000 last year. Recommendation is to reduce it to $750. Conference of dues, $530, that's going to remain the same. The 290 account, fees for professionalized services, again, the health department is responsible for the deer carcass removal, employee physicals, any laboratory testing. You'll see the big number here is the Montclair contract. We contract our health services from the Township of Montclair, which does a number of towns in the surrounding area. The Essex Health Regional Commission, and we do rodent control services. All total, that budget's going up slightly from $75,404 to $77,648. Bloodborne pathogens, we have some employees that come in contact with bloodborne pathogen, in particular down at the sewer department, where you don't know what's coming through the plant. Anybody that wants to be tested, we have that money there. It's a catch-all account. Office supplies, $300. That remains the same as last year. The flu vaccine clinic, you'll see that line item there. We were able to get the flu vaccine from the state, so we really don't pay for it, correct?
We pay for it.
You pay for it through
Montclair
Montclair,
pays
through the contract.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I misspoke. All total, this budget's gone from $127,234 to $129,228. With that, we're gonna move on to page 47, which is the animal control budget. Dog and cat canvas, $1,500. This is one area where we really have a problem. Normally, years ago, there used to be a group in town run by our former sewer plant foreman, Pete Cardiello. It was called Oxada, American students, karate students. And they used to perform the dog and cat canvas throughout town. And we used to give them a $1,500 stipend. Well, Pete, unfortunately, is no longer with us. That group has dissolved, but we've been trying to get a volunteer organization, whether it be the scouts, students at the high school, to volunteer just to do the dog and cat canvas. Now, they're not coming in contact with the animals. They're just going to households and doing a survey. And what it is to stir people to register their animals. But we just can't seem to get anybody to do this year in and year out. That's why you'll see nothing was expended again last year. And we're still looking for that volunteer group that's looking to step forward. We're willing to give the $1,500 stipend. Anybody that knows anyone that would be interested in doing it, we'd be interested in entertaining them. With that, the 240 account, printing and binding, dog and cat license forms and cards, $1,500. Fees for professionalized services. Wayne Animal Control is the big number here, $30,787, up from $29,321. All total, this budget's up slightly from $33,371 to $34,987. We outsource our animal control to Wayne, who does regional, just like Montclair does regional on health. Going to page 49, which is our senior transportation. You'll see, last year we saved approximately $17,000 when we combined two jobs. We have our maintenance guy, Mr. Stefanelli here, and he went and get his Class B license to drive the bus. So now he does maintenance here and drives the bus. And we were able to combine two jobs into one job, and that's why you'll see he has $10,300 here in his regular line item budget in the maintenance item. So all total, we have United Way Dial-A-Ride, which is a service that we do jointly with the Township of Verona, and anybody that wants for a nominal fee, they call Verona, I think it's like $3, something around, a ride, and you get specialized services. They come to your door, pick you up, take you where you gotta go, and bring you back. It's a good $5,000. I know Dee in the health department monitors, we have quite a bit of usage from Cedar Grove residents. And then the 399 account is the Social Security pension workman's comp for Emil Stefanelli, the bus driver. All total, that budget is going up slightly from 34,058 to 34,894. With that, I've talked enough. I'm going to let Sue talk a little about Montclair health services that they offer and what we get for our time. So it's all yours.
Hi. So, local health departments are required to provide certain services through their best practice standards. That comes down from the state health department. And part of that is staffing. So it makes sense for smaller towns to contract with larger towns so that you don't have to hire all the staffing that's required for a local health department to have. So with the contract with Montclair, we have a health officer, we have 3 public health nurses, we have 3 registered environmental health specialists, and we have a health educator all at your disposal. So I guess the most interesting part of it, if you're looking at local health, is what the registered environmental health specialists do. They go out and they inspect all your retail food establishments. They're inspecting the massage places, the public bathing places. So we have the Cedar Grove Town Pool, but you also have several condos in town that have a pool. You have the divers tank, diver supply, and you also have the new pool that they built over by the party store, right? So they do all that. In the summer, we get busy with rodent complaints, insect complaints, stagnant pools, things like that. In the winter, we get heat complaints. So the registered environmental health specialists do all that and get it into town and do that. When we have health screenings and programs that the health educator sets up, we provide them to Cedar Grove residents. And sometimes they're in Montclair, but we've been making a big effort to try and have more here in Cedar Grove because I think people like to go to their own town for programs. Our nurses provide the flu clinics here, so we have a big clinic right here in the council chambers for residents and employees. We keep on top of all the new and emerging diseases. When we had Ebola and SARS and MRSA, and right now with the coronavirus that's going on, we're monitoring that and keeping track of that. We had one instance today actually where there was a child identified that flew in from China, so they're keeping an eye on that situation, our nurses. So I don't know if you have any questions about what we do.
How do you get advised of a situation like that? So one instance where somebody flew in from China.
There's a, well, in that particular case, it was a daycare. So the child is being kept home for a certain amount of time, and the daycare called us because they didn't know if the time frame was long enough. The parents intended on keeping the child home for 1 week, and it's such a new disease, we just found out that the incubation period is 2 weeks. So we have support from the state health department. There's a state epidemiologist. I don't know if they ever heard back from her today as to what we should do with this particular situation, but you know, we follow their guidance.
Sure.
We also do lead poisoning prevention investigations. If there's a child identified with an elevated blood lead level, the nurses do a case management with that child, do interviews with the parents, see if they have any hobbies where they could be exposed to lead, if they're bringing in spices or makeup from another country that could contain lead. We have lead analyzers in our department where we'll come out to the home, check the paint in the home to see if it's peeling, chipping, you know, test it with the analyzer to see how much lead is in the paint. We can test toys, we can test ceramic pieces. So we did have one case in Cedar Grove. We don't get a lot here because you have newer homes here. But we did have one case, and there's a possibility that there is one coming through now.
And just a note, that's probably more due to lead-based paint, not due to water lines.
It's not due to the water.
We
no.
have analyzed all our water lines. Of record, we have none that we know of that are lead. So when that issue first came out, that was the first thing we did. We went through all our public facilities, schools, and all our public records as far as water lines in town. So as of right now, of record, we don't have any lead lines that we know of anyway.
Sure.
So that particular case was definitely paint. It was, you know, they changed indoor and outdoor paint. Outdoor paint, they allowed to have lead longer. So when people painted the outdoors of their homes, sometimes they used that paint to paint like fireplaces and, you know, certain things inside their home, like the wells inside the windows. So in that case, it was a fireplace. porches.
Any questions? Nope. Not, thank you very
Great,
much.
thank you, have a good
Thank
day. Take care.
All right, now we're going to move on to, Mr. Diacenzio would normally be here, but he had knee replacement, so he's going to be out for another 3 to 4 weeks.
Oh,
So we're going to go over public buildings, planning board, building inspection, plumbing, electrical, and I'm going to handle that on his together. Well, part of it we do together anyway. So we're going to go to page 22, which is public buildings and grounds. And as you can see, I talked about Mr. Stefanelli, how we have a joint. You'll see this is the remaining portion of his salary under the building. Well, we're going to start at the 220 account. Actually, there's nothing allocated to travel expenses there. They have a vehicle that they use in the building department. But the 233 account, postage for municipal offices, this is where all the bills get paid. Water bills, sewer bills, everything, all the postage gets paid at. Here's $17,000 as appropriation. Same thing as last year. Maintenance and other equipment, fire extinguisher maintenance, smoke detectors for this building, the HVAC contract, elevator maintenance contract. And then the last item, I explained this last year, but I'll explain it again, miscellaneous office equipment. Whenever we buy new equipment, the first thing the manufacturer wants to do is sell you the manufacturer's extended warranty. So normally, when you buy something new, in the first year or 2 or 3, there's really not a problem with it. And normally, so what we do is rather than buy the extended warranties, we put the $1,700 here every year. So if something goes wrong with that new equipment, we take it out of this account. And if nothing goes wrong with it, it goes back into the general account, back into our revenue. So it's really a catch-all account. This is our general maintenance on all the equipment. But what we're doing is we're basically insuring ourselves. And rather than paying these service contracts, which will drain us, because all the equipment in here, it's really a killer. And what we do is we analyze every year how much we're spending on maintenance. It's really not a lot on new equipment. So really, we're keeping our own money. And that's the reason why we do it that way. And it seems to be working. When it doesn't work any longer, then maybe we'll go back the other way. But for right now, it seems okay. Municipal properties, this is all the maintenance on municipal properties. It pays for everything, whether we have air conditioners breaking here, the heating system breaks, it comes out of this account, $20,000. Window cleaning services and floor waxing, twice a year, we get that done in town hall. Mail meter, that's the meter downstairs, all the postage for everything we pay. We have the meter you don't own. You own the general hardware, but the actual meter is owned by the company and it's a rental. It's $1,500 a year. Municipal janitorial supplies for this building, $3,600. That's up $100. And then the 385 account is the decoration of this building, whether it be Veterans Day, Memorial Day, or Christmas wreaths, $1,200. All total, this budget's going up $100 from $112,142 to $112,242. Planning board remained pretty much constant on page 24, 250 account. The only thing is we're going to have to send a letter to the planning and zoning boards. We want to encourage them to take more of these training courses. They're not really utilizing all the dollars. If you see that they have spent nothing this year, they didn't spend anything last year, and they need to, at least the introductory courses for the newer members. But I think maybe it's more of just a reminder that they need more than anything else. The 290 account is the fees for the attorneys, which is the fees are set by ordinance that you approve every year. In July, you set the fee at $217,000. Planning board has 24 meetings scheduled. That's not to say that they haven't, because they have a lot of cancellations. So there's $5,208 appropriated this year for that purpose. Office supplies, $1,470. All total, the budget's $36,178 last year. It's going to $36,226 this year. Zoning board is just about a carbon copy, $560 for the conference and $580 for the conference and dues, same as last year. The fees for professionalized services, they only have 12 meetings a year because the zoning board only has 1 meeting a month. The fee that the governing body set was $258. That comes to $3,096. Last year was $3,060. Books and publications, $250. Office supplies, $250. To So that budget's going from 33,128 to 33,164. Moving on to page 26, which is inspection of buildings. 231 is heat, power, and light. What happens with inspections of buildings? The building department is supposed to be a break-even proposition. Municipalities are not supposed to make money on it. So what happens is, you're supposed to estimate out what the cost of your employees are. Construction official, building inspector, plumbing inspector, electrical inspector, control person, and then the heat, power, and light. And then you're supposed to balance your fees to what those costs are. And you're supposed to be at a break even. And that's basically what we do. The first item you see there is heat, power, and light. That's what we estimate the heat, power, and light pro rata share for municipal building department. Printing and binding is the forms that they use, the UCC forms, $1,500. Conference and dues, that's the New Jersey building officials dues, $275, and the Atlantic City convention registration. So that budget's $325. Boca books, every other year they have updates, whether it be plumbing, electrical, or building. That's going from $900 to $1,200. Computer paper for that office, $500. Not otherwise classified is the statutory requirements for the employees, health benefits, Social Security, long-term, short-term disability, workman's compensation, and dental. See, it's down slightly from $92,739 to $96,003. All total, that budget's reduced from $249,224 to $247,388. The plumbing and electrical inspector are basically carbon copy budgets. They're both going from $23,494 to $23,510. You'll see it's only mileage that they get because they use their own cars, and then their Social Security, workman's comp, and long-term and short-term disability for each of those accounts. And you'll see the electrical and plumbing are identical there. One thing we forgot to go over earlier, and I jumped over, was our legal department expenses, which is on page 15, yeah. So basically, annual retainer, which is, well, actually, conference and dues, under $55, same as last year. Annual retainer, which the governing body sets every year by ordinance, $28,753. Non-retainer matters, $120,000, was the same as last year. County and state tax appeals, $45,000. We held that the same as last year. So all total, this budget remains exactly the same. We didn't increase it. We don't think it needs an increase. We're fading out on COLA expenses, so we should be in good shape. That budget's $193,908. And then let's go to the municipal prosecutor, which the governing body sets by ordinance, $375 per session. It's estimated there'll be 58 sessions, comes to $21,750. And the public defender, $268 per session. It's estimated that they'll represent us at 22 sessions, $5,896. That's basically those items that we skipped over earlier that I just wanted to go back to and go over. And now we have the police department. We have Chief Sarasas here. Now, there is a reason why the police department's last, because this way you save your appetite to cut the budget the most. For the last.
Every year.
Every year.
Every year. We're going backwards.
How you doing, Chief?
Good evening, everyone. How are you doing?
Thanks for coming.
My pleasure.
But again, I'm going to embarrass him a little bit, only because you have a police chief here that gives his heart and soul to the community. The guy is here every minute of the day, and sometimes he just keeps switching hats. I don't know whether he's a police officer or a fireman. He's on the ambulance and rescue squad. He's fixing the alarms in the building. I mean, if you have to sweep water uphill, he'll volunteer to do it. I mean, the guy does basically everything.
He almost arrested my daughter and I outside the library, returning late library.
See that?
See? He does everything.
I tell you no lie.
Somebody help me out.
But all things aside, just a total asset to this community, and
Thanks,
I'm
Tom.
glad he's our police chief.
And I will just also echo that, because not only does Tom see that, but I can tell you that I see that, and I think the rest of our council sees the effort that you put in from top to bottom.
Thank
And,
you.
you know, we have some interactions every time I do an event here, and you're not only, you're the chief, and you're not only worried about the high-level stuff, you're worried about every little detail that goes on. And I can see that, and I know that the rest of our council sees that,
Thanks.
so we appreciate everything you do.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have to holler out to stop.
They do.
Compulsive,
Sometimes just
but-
hollers. I deserve it once in a while.
All right, we're going to start with the 220 travel account for mileage, $100. That's going to remain the same. The 240 account printing and binding, $1,000. That's going to remain the same.
You're on.
39.
I'm sorry, I'm on page 39. My bad.
Okay.
250 account conference and dues, again, police officers have a lot of training, $11,966. That's going to remain the same as last year. Maintenance and other equipment, talk about the cost of things. You know, there's service contracts, software updates, hardware updates, I mean, MDTs, MPCs, voice recording systems, live scan maintenance, L3 mobile in the vehicles. You name it, it's a lot of money to run a police department. Just those service contracts, $74,400. Fees for professionalized services, as a contractual item, police officers are allotted an annual physical if they choose to partake in it, $250. We have National Night Out, which is a big success here in Cedar Grove. The citizens of our community, with the strong efforts of the police, fire, and the ambulance rescue squad, you know, they put on a show to show the people that our emergency services care about them, and the volunteers really, really put a strong effort in, along with our police. So we contribute $5,000 along with a lot of donations. So that budget is $15,750. Clothing and uniforms, $34,950, same as last year. Food for officer reimbursement and prisoner food, $300. Books and publications, $1,500, same as last year. Office supplies, $1,000, $1,500, same as last year. Vehicle tire replacement, $5,500. Nobody puts more mileage on their cars than the police department. Electrical and communication supplies, basically batteries, $300. 382 account, fire and other safety supplies, which is ammunition, oxygen refills, EMT first aid kits, narcotics test kits, $12,300. Photo and fingerprinting supplies, $1,000. I asked the chief, we just bought a live scan machine. Why do we have to have fingerprinting equipment? Because there are certain elements that just still require the old-fashioned fingerprint. Everything is not live scan. You just, I just assumed, not knowing, but,
Well, with LiveScan now, it's only like for criminal charges. So the minute I live scan you, you're going into the system, and now it's looking for a criminal charge. So there's a lot of situations where we do non-criminal charges. We're not charging you. We're just printing you for Megan's offenses or things of that sort.
so just clarification on that. The 4100 account, last year we bought 2 vehicles because last year we had accident money that we bought the 3rd vehicle with. This year we're upping it to 3 vehicles, which is our normal replacement policy. Every 2 years, the police department rotates 3 cars out and we get 3 new cars, only to keep our fleet up to date. And that appropriation is $97,000, up from $74,500 last year. Now, traditionally, every year at this point, I ask the governing body's authorization, because the budget's not approved, to proceed with ordering these cars, because there's a lead time of like
Yeah, 4 months.
4 months. So I'm going to ask you this evening, are we authorized to purchase these 3 cars, knowing that the budget is not adopted yet? This way the police department can order them and we'll get them in a timely fashion. Because if we don't, if Ford only manufactures the vehicles X amount of month, all the other departments will order them and we'll be shut out and won't get any vehicles for the whole year if we don't do it in this fashion. Just so you understand the reasoning why we asked that.
the ones that have to be replaced, they go to auction?
They go to auction. When you come out, Jeff McElroy, in conjunction with the chief, we have online auction. Everything is done online. Our auctions are normally pretty good. The reason why is the police department keeps the vehicles and the DPW in very good shape. So these auctioneers know they want reliable vehicles. They come here and get them, and they, believe it or not, we start the bid low and they bid it up every year, and we recoup a good buck every year. But again, every 2 years, and not only do we auction off police vehicles, any old DPW vehicles, any vehicles in town, even old equipment, we throw everything in the auction. And sometimes there are bicycles that are confiscated that we auction, so we throw everything in there. But it works well. The online auction, it was a good change.
So, Mr. Tucci, do you need any formal approval from us now?
No,
or
I just need your verbal authorization here
Okay.
that we're okay to order them, because you'll see the bill when it comes in, you'll have it on a bill list,
Okay.
all right?
Yeah, Mayor, just so you know, like the newest cars go to the patrol guys, so they have the best equipment. And then from there, we step them down to like the detectives, administrative, the road work cars, and then
Right.
from there, then they're
How many cars do we have in the fleet total?
14.
14.
Okay.
Mhm.
And how many miles do we put on roughly, the patrol?
Well, by the time they get down to road work cars, they could be in the 80s,
Yeah.
80,000.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, we just rotated one DPW car, which was 14 years old, took that out, and took an old police department car, plugged it in there, because they'll get another 30 or 40,000 miles out of it, because they're in good shape. And this way, we're not paying for another replacement vehicle than a
Sure.
DPW. So it works out. The 481 account, light bar deck replacement strobes and flashes, $4,000. Now, this year, just a little explanation, Ford has changed the models.
Yeah.
So that means that all the lights and everything that we have, normally we rotate them from vehicle to vehicle to reuse them, can't reuse them anymore. So you'll see in the capital budget, there's another $30,000 or $35,000 there for vehicle conversion. The reason why we cannot put police vehicles in the capital budget is because you need a life cycle of 5 years. Our life cycle in the police department is 2 years, because we rotate them out every 2 years. But the light bars and the equipment will life cycle more than 5 years. That's why I'm able to put that in capital, but not the vehicles. If we were to put this in our capital budget, our bond council would throw it out and say it's not a qualifying purchase under capital expenditure. So just a little understanding of why we do things a certain way. Why the light bars and equipment's okay, but not the actual vehicle. All total, this budget's going from $4,517,313 to $4,712,123, and most of that is due to salaries, 3% contractual increase. The big item I want to talk about, and I think Deputy Mayor Peterson and I had a brief conversation before this, is the police communication system. We talked about it last year, I think the estimate was 1.4 million. I got on the chief a little bit, he went back to the vendor, and I think he got it down to $1.2 million. Some point during this year, I don't have it in the capital improvement budget right now. If you look in that document, I didn't put it in there only because we've had a lot of bonding this past year. We had the $12 million for the North Watershed property. We just bonded $1 million for the fire truck, even though we recouped $600,000 and we'll get the rest of it. My plan is this, as I discussed briefly with the deputy mayor, is I'm waiting for a little bit more of the Hovnanian flow money to come in. I'm figuring by June, I should have at least half of what the cost of that is, and at that point, I would like to bond with council's authorization, $1.2 million to do the new police communication system. What that's going to entail is not only police, it's going to be a new communication for police, fire, ambulance and rescue, DPW, Cedar Grove Board of Education is going to have some involved in that. So you're going to have interoperability throughout everything. You're going to be on the state police system off the Montclair State Pole, and that's going to be an improvement that I think is going to benefit everybody all the way around. Because the interoperability is
Well, everyone around us has gone to it already, like North Caldwell, Verona, Montclair, Little Falls, they're all on the system, so we really can't talk to anybody. So in a case like the other night, we had a pursuit, burglary suspect, and we have to call you have to call the desk, and the desk has to call them on spent, as opposed to just switching to a channel that we share.
Wait, so if you have a suspect in Cedar Grove that goes into Montclair, let's just
Right.
say, you have to pick up the phone.
No, we have a statewide
It's
channel.
a statewide channel, it's called SPEN.
Okay, so you pick up that,
Right.
then they have to get the desk officer.
Right.
Who then somehow communicates.
Then he's got to rebroadcast it to the cars, So, and, certain initiatives that we're doing are these anti-crime task force that West Essex is running. And there, we have to borrow a radio because we're not on the same band. So it works, we make it work, but,
And then how do you said that interoperability within Cedar Grove? How does it work now? So, let's just say you need to get in touch with the rescue squad.
they have their separate channel.
Separate
Oh,
channel.
just it's a separate channel?
Yeah, but
Okay.
this will all be,
Got it.
We're like, plowing, sometimes we have medical calls, and we need the public works to come and shovel the walk on a house that maybe hasn't been shoveled yet, and the person's experiencing a medical emergency. So now we can get right on, and when they're plowing streets and people are getting stuck, and so it's gonna be, the current system is the connectivity. We have 16 sites that we maintain with copper phone lines, and Verizon is no longer maintaining the copper
and the
lines.
cost of the ISDN lines, the copper lines, is astronomical. You're gonna see in the utilities budget, there's a line item, we're gonna save a lot of money
Yeah, it's about 50,000.
on operational cost every year by going to this system.
But
So-
not only that, and I could be wrong, but God forbid, say there's like a catastrophic event, like there was a shooting at the high
Right.
school.
Yeah.
If something like that were to happen, then everyone's on the same channel
Right.
instead of all of this
Right.
switching, like that's what
So
I
like,
think
if
of.
something like that, you would actually have to keep switching
Yeah.
channels?
Yeah.
And hopefully get
Yes.
a response?
So this is like
There's
the
a
They
lot
have
of
to do it
perfect-
like 10 different times.
There's a lot of machinations
Yeah.
you have to go through to.
Wow.
Like Jersey City, that was the biggest, that's usually the most challenging part is the communication. So they had all those all those jurisdictions coming in, but no one channel.
No communication
Right.
to just do, yeah.
Right,
That's,
so what's great is
I
that
think it's so important.
it's
that-
town-wide, like, we
Yeah.
can talk directly to the squad, the officer in the building can talk right out to the ambulance as it pulls up, we need this, we need that, it's gonna expedite everything,
But the reason why I just wanna hold off just a little bit is for cash flow, because you don't wanna overload your debt service, because it becomes a problem.
Sure.
How long is it gonna take to get the system up and running once you're able to get the system?
I would say probably like 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
Because everything has to, every vehicle has to be rewired and the radios put in, so, and that's quite a bit.
So it won't be until
You know,
next
And if you
year.
look, there were a couple of items that popped up, like our 911 system,
Yeah.
which expired, which is in the capital operating budget. I mean, we had a few things that the locker rooms downstairs needed more money, wasn't enough, it was not estimated correctly, so it needed more money to be appropriated. So there were a few more things that popped up last minute that, if you look, the capital budget
Yeah, so the
is
locker
pretty meager,
rooms.
locker room. Because we appropriated 71,000 last
77
year,
or something, yeah.
so we needed more.
So once the architect
Complete.
came in and he looked at the job and there's
That's why
ADA
it wasn't-
issues.
That's why it wasn't done.
That's why it wasn't done.
Okay, because I saw that, it's like 71 or 77, we
Right.
incurred 3,000 or something like that.
Right, that was architectural
Or
fees.
that's, okay, got it.
So, and again, that's important because we need separate facilities for our female officers versus our male officers.
Absolutely.
And you'll also see there's additional money there for the ADA compliant playground equipment down at the community park that needed more money. So these are all things, but we're gonna go through all that in the capital budget tomorrow. But I just wanted to bring this issue up to highlight it and let you know what the plan was, and this way we're all on the same page moving forward. And I just wanted to get your feedback that you're okay with us moving in that direction, in that fashion.
Absolutely.
Chief, you have anything?
That's it?
you would like
No,
to-
hey, I just want to thank you on behalf of all the officers. I mean, you guys are very good to us. Tom is amazing, and, they're out there hard. They're working hard every night, Every night you have people coming into town, and sometimes, things like that. The guys are out there patrolling, EMS calls. I had an emergency at my own house, and the officers came in, and the ambulance came in, and they're people you know. It's fantastic. So on behalf of the men and women, I thank you.
Well, you're protecting our children, our grandchildren, everybody's sitting in this room, so
Right.
as somebody that you're,
You guys work,
Yeah.
you know, there's, everyone knows how hard it is.
It's challenging. Policing's changing. Bail reform, T visas, U visas, red flag laws. It's different.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everything
Thank you
that
so much.
See you guys. Thank you so much.
with that, we're going to conclude for this evening. We'll pick up tomorrow night at 5 PM. At 7 o'clock tonight, we'll start our staff
Might
meeting.
even have a few seconds to go get lunch.
Exactly.
Dinner.
But
Grab a bite.
thank you for your support. and
Thank you.
see you.